Hey guys, on today's episode, we're going to be doing a mix breakdown for Tom MacDonald's song, Everybody Hates Me. My name is Evan Morgan, and I did all the mixing and mastering on Tom's new record. Everybody Hates Me was the first song that we worked on together. Ever since it came out, I've been getting tons of messages from you guys asking about elements of the mix, so I've been wanting to do a mix breakdown for a little while now. With the new record coming out on August 30th, and the Everybody Hates Me video reaching 10 million views, I thought it would be a good time to do a mix breakdown on this song. So, with that said, let's jump into the session. Okay, let's dive into this session. So, this is what the session looks like. Tom sent me all the stems from his session, which I think he works in Logic or something else, so he just normally prints kind of full-length stems like this and sends them to me, and I kind of get them into my session the way that I like. I learned on analog mixing consoles, so the way that I set up my sessions is kind of that traditional sense. So I have all my drums here over to the left, and then my instruments, and then my vocals here in pink and purple. And all these are funneling into a master fader. And then I have my effects returns over here on the right hand side. So you can see all these tracks are going to, I call it my star bus. When I do out of the box mixing or hybrid mixing, this is to make sure that everything is going out to my print bus. So everything that's going to the star is going out to my analog equipment and then coming back in and getting recorded. In this case, this is all in the box mix. I didn't use any outboard stuff, so that's just kind of habit. So everything's going to this star bus, which is showing up here and going through a little bit of Mixbus processing. So let's take a look at that first, because I usually start with Mixbus stuff. So let's just jump to one of the courses here. And on the Mixbus, I have this, which is just a kind of a console emulation, a little bit of saturation and harmonic goodness. I have an EQ, but it doesn't look like I'm doing anything with it. So this is just kind of part of what I usually put on my mix bus. And if I need some pretty drastic tonal shifts overall, will use this. But in this case, I didn't. This is I'm not sure what this is, to be honest. I use it the way that I use a Clairphonic when I'm out of the box. So it's a little bit of a top end and bottom end enhancer. There's a little bit of shelving in there. And I think a little bit of harmonic and saturation enhancement, and there might be a little bit of parallel processing as well, but I'm not too sure. I just know that it sounds really good, and I really like it, and it's subtle enough that it can live on my mix bus. So I have a little bit of top end and just a tiny little bit of low end enhancement going on with that. And after that, I usually go into some kind of compressor, mix bus compressor. Sometimes I use this, which is the glue. Didn't use that in this mix. I ended up using this one instead, which is Slates, and they're both SSL bus compressor emulations, and they're both wonderful, but for whatever reason I felt this one sounded a little better. So I have a slow attack and a fast release and a very low ratio on this, and I'm not doing much with it. I think it's stupid funny. Haters. Just 1 to 2 dB compression. I do have the high pass filter on a little bit, and that's just to make sure that the kick drums and the 808s don't trigger the bus compressor too much. I want it to be triggering the same amount as the vocal and some of the other louder instruments, so you can see the kick drum and the vocal are kind of triggering the compressor around the same amount. After that, I go into a tape machine emulator, and this is emulating like a 2-track master tape that you would have your whole mix and you'd be recording to that, and it's running at 30 IPS. So just adding a little bass bump and a little bit of coloration that I seem to like, so that's on there, and that's all I have on my mix bus. So I'll give you a little before and after. I think it's stupid funny. I think it's stupid funny. Haters, fake friends. I think it's stupid funny. So very subtle, not a whole lot of stuff going on there. It's just kind of where I start, and I will usually have that on from the get-go and mix into it, and then kind of halfway through my mix I'll kind of really set up my bus compressor and make sure that that's triggering and everything's gluing the way that I want it to. Let's go over my effects really quick. So the best way to do that would be to find one of the vocals. Maybe the hook vocal, I think, has all the effects on there. So let's just grab that guy.
They been hating, I think it's stupid funny.
So, like I said, I didn't use a ton of effects in this. I have a short room reverb, which is just the Valhalla, and that's running an ambience algorithm, and that sounds like this.
They been hating, I think it's stupid funny. Haters, fake friends, making me stupid money.
So just a little bit of ambience for the vocals to live in. They just came a little bit dry to me, so that's just kind of a ambient space for them to live in. I have a plate reverb by Sound Toys here. This is their EMT 140 emulation. It's quite short. I'm just doing just over a second, and that sounds like this.
They been hating, I think it's stupid funny. Haters, fake friends, making me stupid money.
So, good sounding plate. I have a Hall reverb, which is just my longer reverb, which is actually, in this case, I used the plate algorithm, but it's just what I call my kind of longer reverb, and this is sitting around 3.5 seconds, so quite long. That sounds like this.
They been hating, I think it's stupid funny. Haters, fake friends, making me stupid money.
And I have a lot of pre-delay on that, so there's actually a delay before the reverb starts. And then the only other effect process I was using in this is, I call it the Dimension D, but it's not really a Dimension D. It's more of a Eventide H3000 micro pitch harmonizer thing. And I'm doing that with Microshift. It has that kind of flavor. I think the guys from Sound Toys all used to work at Eventide, so I think they know how to make that sound. And all it is it splits it out, and then it pitches it up 6 to 10 cents on one side and pitches it down 6 to 10 on the other side. And then sometimes there's a little bit of delay in there as well. There might be 20 milliseconds on this side and 70 milliseconds on this side, whatever, just kind of giving it a little bit of a shift. And that sounds like this.
They been hating, I think it's stupid funny. Haters, fake friends, making me stupid money.
So it's kind of doing something similar to what the short room reverb is doing, but just without the ambience and the actual reverb. So I find myself using that on most mixes to some degree. So those are my effects returns, and all of these different channels are sending to those of varying amounts throughout the mix. So with that's the layout. Let's take a look at the actual beat. So we'll start with the instruments, and we'll mute all the vocals. The main element of this song is this piano, and it came to me like this. Let's go off the top here. So cool sound, already has a lot of character and interest to it. It has that kind of grungy, small, old-timey kind of vibe, which I wanted to accentuate. So what I did to it was I added this, which is a free plugin, actually. It's by Isotope. It's called Vinyl, and it kind of just emulates a record player. And some of the parameters that go along with that. So you can warp the pitch a little bit. You can add some dust and some skips and all that kind of stuff. You can have filters, essentially, which cut off the top end and low end to kind of shrink the sound even more. And I did this. Again, pretty subtle, just kind of enhancing what that character that was already there. I ran it through a tape machine emulation, just on the 16 track at 15 IPS, so shaving off a little bit of the top end and a little bit of a grittier tape sound, and that sounds like this. So you can hear it just breaking up a little bit, and it kind of does something quite nice to the top end that I like, kind of rolls it down. And then a little bit of EQ, and so this is mainly just taking out some mid around the vocal range, I would think. can hear there's that kind of nosy element where the voice is going to be sitting in that kind of nasal section, and I just ended up carving that out for the voice to live in. And I'll play. It sounds like this. So that's what I'm kind of pulling out a little bit. And then I added just an extra little bit of ambience, just a little bit of that room reverb on there. And then I think this is automated. I don't think, yeah. So this just comes on in the pre-courses, the hall reverb. Just to give that section just a little bit more ambience. So that's the piano part, the main bulk of the whole beat. So let's jump to the drums. What I mainly tried to do with the drums, if I remember correctly, is they came out a little too clean sounding, a little too digital. So a lot of what I'm doing is trying to dirty them up and shave off some top end so that they don't sound as digital and they fit more with this kind of grungy piano that we have going on. So let's jump to one of the courses here and we can give that a listen. I'll kill these other instruments for now. So tonally and aesthetically, I wanted them to be able to fit. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. So there's 2 kick drums that Tom sent me, and they sounded like this. This is the first one. And the second one. So that one's got more of the character that I'm interested in. It's got that knocky kind of dirty sound. This one's got all the low end in it. So together they sound like this. So this one, the second one I liked. Again, it's got the character it needs. This one, I tried to dirty it up a little bit. So what I ended up doing was, this is another free plugin. This is Soft Tube Saturation, which is a really good saturation plugin because it has these parameters where you can focus on the low end or the crunchiness of the top end, and you have a little bit of tonal selection in there. The one thing I hate about this plugin though, Soft Tube, is there's no output slider. So when you turn up the saturation, you gain a whole bunch of gain, and there's no compensation. So it's really hard to A/B things. So here, I'll show you. This is what I did to it. Because I wanted that crunchier vibe, but bypassed. So yeah, it's way too loud. So I always put a trim plugin. This is just comes with Pro Tools. It's just a little gain plugin, and I'm taking 8 dB down so I can have a fairer comparison. So this is with my processing. So just trying to fart it out, grunge it up a little bit, and with the other kick, it sounds like this. And that's the kick drum sound. He sent me these 808s, which sound like this. Which had a good grit to them, which I liked. There was apparently a little too much sub information in there, so I shaved that off and focused it a little more around 70 hertz. And I also flipped the phase on it. So when you're stacking a lot of bass elements, especially cleaner ones that are a little closer to actual sine waves, you got to be careful with phase because you'll find that they will cancel each other out. So I guess I thought that it sounded better with the phase flipped on this. Let's have a listen. Yeah, so I don't know, you probably won't be able to hear that on laptop speakers or anything, but my sub down here is responding much different when this 808 has its phase flipped. So it seems to be in a better place with the kick drums with that phase engaged. So after that we have the snare, which came to me sounding like this. Which, nice, clean, crisp sounding snare. So I definitely tried to gritty that up a little bit and take off a little bit of that top end. And I did that with this. This is an older plugin, but one that still sees a lot of use. It's a company called Massey, which was the first plugins I ever bought when I started mixing a long, long time ago. They used to be just for Pro Tools, but I think they're for lots of things now. But he makes really great plugins. And this is a tape head, tape saturator, distortion kind of emulator that sounds really good. And again, it's got a little bit of a tonal, some tonal options here, which make it helpful. But this is what it's doing. Without. So you can hear it's adding a little bit of girth. It's breaking up the high mids in a nice way, and it's shaving off a little bit of the top end. And yeah, again, just bringing it more into the world of where that piano is living. I also did a little bit of EQ, just adding back a tiny little bit of top end, taking a little bit of mids, and adding just a little more body. Yeah, so that mid cut is kind of the main one there. There is a clap, which sounds like this. Oh, it's more of a snap. Probably should have called that a snap. Just the same thing, kind of gritted that up a little bit. Just gives it a little bit more density. And then I think I added, yeah, I just sent it to my plate a little bit. Just to give it a little more length. The hats I liked, so I just left them the way that they were. I thought they sounded great. They're bright, obviously, but something's got to be bright in the track, so I left the top end in the hi-hats, and they already have a little bit of grunginess to them. This open hat, I probably just a little more distortion on there. Before it sounded like this, and after, yeah, so just breaking up the top end a little bit, adding a little more crunch. Secondary claps, probably the same thing, added a little bit of plate, yeah, so this is before. Cool sound, I like that one. And after, yeah, see, there's a good way to hear that. You hear how it's adding a lot of girth and density to the low mids, and it's kind of taming that really sizzly, kind of fake digital top end. And then a little bit of extra reverb on there via the plate. And there's a little bit of a tambo in there as well. What's he doing? Little jingle bell kind of thing. So I just left that. That's the way that it is. So all in all, the drums sound like this. This is before all the processing. And with everything on there. So that snare, that backbeat's what's really different. It kind of has a lot more character and a little bit more length to it, which I like. I think it blends with the piano a little nicer. So the other instruments are pretty minimal. There's an organ going on through the pre-chorus and the chorus. Came to me sounding like this. Pretty basic. Just add a little extra crunch with the tape. Added a little bit of EQ. Just focusing a little more on the low mids and getting rid of a little bit of the mid information, just getting out of the way. And then this is another free plugin. This is Isotope. This is just a stereoizer, a stereo spreader. So I'm just adding a little bit of stereo width. I don't know if this is doing MS or how this is doing it, but essentially it's pulling a little bit out of the middle and moving the energy over to the sides. So it sounds like this. So I probably just did that for a little more stereo excitement in the courses, and also so that the piano is up the middle and the organ is kind of wrapping around it on the sides rather than just kind of being in the same space in the middle. So together they sound like this. That works. There's a little xylophone thingy, which I just did a little bit of EQ on, just shaving some, extreme top and bottom that's not really present in the sound, and focusing a little more on the jangly mids there. So without. Yeah, so you just hear the mallet a little more, it just kind of pokes through the mix. And the only other thing in the beat is these little hays, which I didn't actually do anything with. I just balanced them the way I liked. There's this one. Kind of an airy one. And there's this one. Together. So, that's the instrumental part of the track. So, let's get into the vocals now. We have a little bit of an intro vocal here, and then this is our main verse vocal. So this is kind of the main guy. We can start with that. And then we have our pre-chorus vocals here, and our chorus hook vocals here. So that's kind of a big stack. We'll get into that. But let's find a spot we can listen to. Maybe there will be good. So this is what... I'm not sure exactly how Tom... I know he records his voice in his own home studio. I think he has a Neumann mic. He might use an SM7. But it does come in a little on the dark side. So this is what he sent me.
All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise. Yeah, y'all phony tough and I'm blowing up, and that's your fault, not mine. Yeah.
So a little bit on the darker side, a little bit boomy sometimes. And Tom, he likes his voice very, very, very bright. So this is the first song that we worked together on. And I remember I did my initial mix and sent it to him. And he said, everything sounds great. Everything sounds perfect. But can we get the voice just a little bit brighter? I was like, oh, okay, I can do that. And so I did what I had to do to make it a little bit brighter and sent it to him again. Said, sounds way better, brighter still. I was like, wow, okay, so we're going bright for this. It's definitely part of his sound and his character, having that articulation and that brightness. So let's see how we got about that. So yeah, this is the main move here. This might seem a little extreme, but it's what got me there in the end. Taking out a little bit of that, the low boominess, pulling out just a little bit of that mid, that kind of more nasally, boxy kind of sound, and then this is the big, so almost 7 dB at 7K, just a big boost, and that's going to shift the whole tone up to the upper register. Sounds like this.
All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise. Yeah, y'all. All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise. Yeah. All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise. Yeah, y'all.
So definitely a bit on the brighter side. I also added this shelf, just doing a little extra, and then maybe that was what I did after I got my initial notes. I have this low pass, just cutting off some of the extreme top end. After that, I'm going into a de-esser, because when you boost that much top end, obviously the S's start to go a little crazy. This is the Massey, again, the Massey company. This is their de-esser. I like it a lot. It does the job very well. It sounds like this.
All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise. Yeah.
Just catching those S's, pulling them down about 3 dB or so. Nothing too crazy. And then once the tonal balance was set and that de-esser was on there, then I kind of had my vocal into a spot where it was happy, and now we go into kind of a channel strip, or this is the main vocal processing here. So I'm using Slate to do this. This is just a bit of a preamp saturation, just a tiny little bit of saturation on there. 1176 style compressor, API style EQ. This is a distressor, kind of emulating, it's an opto mode, so it's kind of emulating a bit of an LA2A style compressor. And then I have this air band, just adding a little extra top. And that again, that might have been something I added after my initial conversation with Tom, just to try and get a little more top. So that sounds like this.
All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise. Yeah. All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise. Yeah. All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise.
So you can hear how it kind of reins in everything. And now that we're in this new tonal world where everything's a little bright, it kind of just contains it and makes it sound a little more polished. This guy's not doing much, just a little bit of a high pass on there before it goes into all the other processing, and just a tiny little bit of coloration. This is kind of my main compressor.
All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise. Yeah, y'all phony.
Doing, 5 or 6 dB of compression, so pretty good. At a 4-to-1, medium attack, fast release. And then this is a little more top end boost around that 7K. Just a little bit of presence, taking out a little bit of nose, I guess, or a little bit of honkiness. And then adding just a little extra girth around 300.
All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise. Yeah, y'all phony tough and I'm blowing.
And that's going into this opto compressor.
All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise.
Which isn't doing a ton, just kind of catching anything that's spiking coming out of the EQ. And then this air band is just adding a little bit of sizzle on the top end.
All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise. Yeah, y'all phony tough and I'm blowing up, and that's.
So coming out of all that process, we go into another de-esser. Now this is the Yosis de-esser. And I haven't got into this one much. I was trying it back when we did this, but I'm using Soothe more now for the same kind of thing. This one's good because it splits the signal, essentially. You can see
all lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all.
Anything that's being triggered as orange has its own processing, which is governed by this EQ down here and then a bit of these controls. And the blue is governed as a separate signal. So it's kind of splitting the signal, and then it allows you to play with the resonances within the sibilance a little bit and tame that. Like I said, I'm using Soothe more now to do that, but at the time I was using this, so just a little bit more de-essing after all this processing.
All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all. All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall. All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie.
And then just a little bit of extra EQ here. Just, I guess there was a couple small resonances here that were bugging me. Probably listening on headphones. So I just decided to pull them out.
All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise. Yeah, y'all phony tough and I'm blowing up, and that's your fault.
Yeah, just make his vocal sit in the mix just a little bit more. And that's the processing on the voice. So, and then we go into effects. I have a little bit of that room ambience on there.
All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise. Yeah, y'all phony tough and I'm blowing up.
A little bit of that plate reverb.
All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise. Yeah, y'all phony tough and I'm blowing up, and that's your fault.
A little bit of that Dimension D or harmonizer.
All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise. Yeah, y'all phony tough and I'm blowing up,
and this. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, we'll get into this in a second. This is something. So this is with the effects on there.
All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise. Yeah, y'all phony tough. All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise. Yeah.
So you can hear how dry that is, comparatively.
All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall.
So these effects are subtle, and I'm using them very slightly, but it does give the voice a little bit of a space. It does make it sound like it's a little more real and like it's existing in a comfortable space that the listeners used to. This Vox Hype thing is something I must have done after talking with Tom and him wanting it brighter. So this is a parallel process. So I'm sending his voice to another channel that I'm processing differently. And so I'm doing some very drastic de-essing on there to try and get rid of as much of the S's as I can before I go into this, which is essentially just a high frequency exciter. So I'm rolling off all the bottom end, taking out all the bottom end, boosting all the top end.
All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise. Yeah, y'all phony tough and I'm blowing up, and that's your fault, not mine.
So I'm only focusing on the top end, compressing it. This is a little bit of a parallel exciter. This revival again. So everything to kind of just only focus on that top end.
All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise. Yeah, y'all phony.
So if I add that to our real voice.
All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise. Yeah, y'all phony tough and I'm blowing up, and that's your fault, not mine. Yeah.
It just kind of gives a sizzle to the entire top end pretty consistently throughout the whole vocal. So that's not something I actually do on Tom's voice anymore. I think I found the right amount of brightness and tonal excitement he was after with my normal processing, but on this mix, I ended up going this route, which is kind of cool. And that is automated, so different parts of the song, it kind of comes in at different levels. So yeah, vocal hype, that's a cool technique for you guys. So all together, this is the final verse vocal sound.
All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise, yeah.
And this is before.
All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise, yeah. Y'all phony tough and I'm blowing up.
And after.
All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise, yeah.
And in context with the music.
All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise, yeah. Y'all phony tough. All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise, yeah. Y'all phony tough and I'm blowing up. All lies, all lies, all lies. Y'all fall, lie, rise, yeah. Y'all phony tough and I'm blowing up, and that's your fault, not mine, yeah. Everybody hates me.
So that's kind of our vocal sound. And so everything stems off of that. So the way we treat our pre-chorus vocals and our hook vocals, they all have to live in the same world as this vocal sound that we've established. So let's look at the pre-chorus vocal. So Tom, he'll either send me two kinds of vocals. One, it'll be him recording directly into a mic, and he sends me the mono file, or he'll do some of his own processing on it. And whether he's got a pedal or he's doing in the box processing, I'm not sure. But when he processes something, either hard auto-tune or pitch shifting or something like that, he'll send me a stereo track. So this one says auto-tune, so this must have been a tuned track.
Go ahead and say all of that wild online, man. You might need a doctor, Phil, if you...
Yeah, so that's well, here, I'll play the dry version.
Go ahead and say all of that wild online, man. You might need a doctor, Phil, if you catch me outside and I...
So same kind of coloration as the other ones. I think all he did was the hard auto-tune on there. Gave me a stereo track. And so I processed that similar. Top end boost, a little bit of de-essing, and a little bit different channel strip, but similar moves. Some filters, some top end boost on the EQ going into 1176.
Go ahead and say all of that wild online, man.
And then effects on this one, room plate, all the effects are on there. Probably to a little bit more than the part before, just because this is kind of a wetter part. So that sounds like this.
Go ahead and say all of that wild online, man. You might need a doctor, Philip.
And then halfway through, these harmonies come in.
And I will not apologize if you ain't one of mine, fam. I will not apologize if you ain't one of mine.
And they, again, just same kind of coloration. This is just a simpler version of what I'm doing with simpler plugins, top end boost, and a little bit of compression with 1176 style.
I will not apologize if you ain't one of mine, fam. I could not afford to give a...
And then there's these yell vocals down here, which sound like this.
To give a if it was
Finance! Finance!
And that came to me sounding like this.
Finance!
So that's just a clean vocal.
Give a if it was finance!
And so I stored that up myself. A little bit of compression just to, you can see it's very dynamic in there. I tried a Sans amp, but ended up not liking it apparently, and I went with this guy instead, which is, this is another Massey plugin. So this is kind of emulating a Rat pedal. If you guys are guitar players, you'll know what a Rat pedal is. It's just a distortion pedal that has a filter built in, which can be really helpful on vocals and bass, and sounds like this.
It was finance! It was finance!
It was finance!
So very cool distortion on there for sure. And then I'm going into an Echo Boy just to add a little bit of slap delay, it looks like, on there.
It was finance! It was finance!
And then a little bit of effects, a little bit of the harmonizer and some reverb.
It was finest!
And apparently I doubled that. I made a duplicate of that for some reason. What did I do on that?
It was finest.
I just, maybe I felt that it was a little too distorted. So I just added a little bit of a dry version in there as well.
Give a if it was fine.
Give a if it was finest!
Just to probably help with the articulation of the words a little bit. And then that leads us into the hook vocal. So let's take a look at that. This is the stack that he did. And the processing is going to be all very similar. Just a little bit of top end boosts, a little bit of compression here and there. The main vocal is going to be a little bit more refined than some of the background vocals. The background ones are just going to be pretty basic. Top end, taking out a little bit of mid information so that the lead vocal can live in there. A little bit of compression, because these are, I don't know if Tom records with much in the way of EQ and compression and stuff going in, because a lot of the vocals come out a little bit on the dynamic side, so they do need a fair bit of containment, so that loud words don't jump out too far. So yeah, top end, yeah, so most of these are just getting very, very similar treatment. Slightly different EQ for different parts, whether it's a low end part or a high end part, but we'll get into that in a second. So this is the main vocal.
They been hating. I think it's stupid funny. Hey.
And this is with nothing on it, as it came.
They been hating. I think it's stupid funny.
And again, a little bit of EQ, a little bit of de-essing into a channel strip, harmonic, a little bit of EQ, a little bit of compression. This is a kind of a faster attack 1176 style compression. This is a slower kind of an LA2A compression, using this U73 instead of the distressor this time, but doing a very similar thing. This one's just a little bit thicker sounding to me. The secondary de-esser, and all the effects. Room, plate, dimension D. This is getting a little vocal hype as well, and hall reverb. So all together sounds like this.
They been hating. I think it's stupid funny.
Everything off.
They been hating. I think it's stupid funny.
Everything on.
They been hating.
And then we got the stack. So we've got some Nova, which is Tom's girlfriend singing. So I've got two of her.
They been hating. I think it's super funny.
I've got two Tom gang vocals.
They been hating.
So just shout vocals. I've got Nova gang vocals. So Nova shouting.
They been hating. I think.
And you might hear the tuning's not wonderful on these, but when you're doing group vocals, one of the things that makes it sound like a big crowd is everybody is not perfectly in pitch. So if the lead vocal is in tune and sung properly, sometimes if the background vocals are a little more loosey-goosey, it can make things sound quite a bit larger. And then there's a group gang where they sang together in the room. Sounds like this.
They been hating. I think it's stupid fun.
Again, just a gang vocal, just kind of shouting the words, and that's all together. Sounds like this.
They been hating. I think it's stupid funny. Haters, fake friends.
So again, Tom's lead vocal in the middle is what's guiding the pitch. So we're following his melody with that, and the stuff around it is supposed to sound a little fun, a little cacophonous. So that's why there's no thought given to the pitch on these gang vocals. There's these little dubs in here halfway through.
Funny.
There's a left and a right.
Funny.
And so our whole hook sounds like this.
They been hating. I think it's stupid funny. Haters, fake friends, making me stupid money. They been hating, making me famous. Keep
And without any processing on there.
They been hating. I think it's stupid funny. Haters, fake.
And with everything back on.
They been hating, I think it's stupid funny. Haters, fake.
So that's our hook vocal. The last part of this is the bridge, essentially. And this is kind of a breakdown bridge. Sounds like this.
Y'all wasting energy, y'all look just like enemies. Only goal is stopping mine, y'all gonna need some better dreams.
So again, this is a just a single voice recorded like this.
Y'all wasting energy, y'all look just like enemies. Only goal is stopping mine, y'all gonna need some better dreams.
A little bit of similar, just taking out that rumble underneath, and a little top end boost, a little bit of de-essing, and my little channel strip I came up with for this. A bit of a high pass and a little bit of saturation into an API style EQ here. Just adding a little girth, taking a little nasal hunk, adding a little presence, and adding a little top into 1176 style compression.
Y'all wasting energy, y'all look just like.
Going crazy with it into a LA2 style compressor, and with a little bit of that harmonic excitement on the end there.
Y'all wasting.
The bigger thing with this section is the effects. This is a lot wetter, so the balance on the effects, mainly this hall reverb. And then the other thing I have going is a delay throw, apparently. So this is an automated thing. It's not going to the delay all the time. It's just on certain words. I'm ramping it into this delay, which is an Echo Boy. So this is just a Echoplex style quarter note delay with pretty long feedback. So let's see what that is doing.
Y'all wasting energy, y'all look just like enemies. Only goal is stopping.
It'd help if I turned on the delay.
Y'all wasting energy, y'all look just like enemies. Only goal is stopping mine, y'all gonna need some better dreams. I've been on.
So you can hear it just catches those accent words at the end of each bar.
Who you'll never be. Y'all are 35, acting like you're 17. Working late at 9 to 5s, jealous I just rap and sleep. You're angry at your life, got a job, forgot to leave. Now you're growing older in the only town you'll ever see.
And the output of this delay is actually going to the reverb, the hall reverb as well. So it's a very wet sounding delay. And that was just, if you've seen the video, you know there's like the little spotlight down on Tom, and it's a little introspective kind of moment. So I just wanted to give that a little bit of extra ambience, a little extra weight. So that is the whole mix. There's a little bit of automation on the master fader, just kind of bumping louder sections up, bringing quiet sections down, a little bit of a fade out at the end. Should go like that because that drives me nuts. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. That's the session. So I hope you guys found that useful. I hope to do more videos like this in the future. So let me know down in the comments if there's any songs off the new record you'd like me to do a mix breakdown on. I'm obviously new to this format, so I'll keep trying to make these videos better and more informative. So let me know if there's anything I can do to improve down in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next one.